Podcasting from Woodstock, Georgia, welcome to Soul Solutions, a show where we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs. I'm your host, author, and certified life coach, Terri Kozlowski. Hello, warriors. This is a special episode of the Soul Solutions podcast called Ask Terri. I have a special guest with me, Joshua Kasparic. He's my son, and he's going to help facilitate this episode. Hello, Joshua.
Hi, Terri. Today, we're talking about persistence and never giving up. And Terri, why is it important?
Persistence is really about our ability to maintain and pursue our goals and our dreams in our life. And for a lot of people, the idea of whatever that simple dream is, whatever that goal is, a lot of us believe that it's unattainable. And part of that reason is because of the negative voices that are around us. So, for example, if you have somebody who is unsupportive, either a friend or a spouse or a loved one, family member, and your dream is to do something that they don't feel you're going to be able to do. For example, I wanted to be a speech pathologist when I was getting ready to go to college. And my daddy did not want me to be a speech pathologist. And he talked me out of going to school to do that because his concern was I'd never make any money at it. And at the time, a speech pathologist was making about $30,000. This would have been in the mid 80s. And they all worked in hospitals. What my dad didn't realize was that as baby boomers age, there was going to be a lot of speech pathologists needed for stroke victims. And that's the kind of work that I would have wanted to do. And those types of people, and ended up being that in the early 2000s, you're talking about people making $70,000 a year doing that. And not in hospital settings, actually private practice settings. So when we give in to those negative voices, either outside of us or from within, then it keeps us from attaining our goals. So persistence is about being able to move forward with the dreams and the desires that you have. Sometimes it's about passion. If I was more passionate about being a speech pathologist, I probably would have just gone to school to do that. But I was a good girl and did what my daddy wanted me to do and went after a business degree, which ended up being a complete disaster because I don't like business accounting or economics. And now I have minors in both because I switched my degree 2.5 years in so that I would end up with a BS in social sciences. So my persistence to get a college degree was my ability to switch things around and make that particular goal inevitable for me, despite the fact that I had negative voices telling me what I should do versus the passion that I had of getting the college degree.
Okay. Number two, we have a question here is how to keep moving forward when we know that we're trying to never give up.
So part of what helps you do that is to be able to adapt to things. Change is always happening. Whether we like it or not, change is a constant in life. And when we learn to adapt to what that change is, it makes it easier for us to pivot and keep pursuing our specific goals. So another way to look at that is being able to understand that when circumstances are such that how you thought things were going to be end up different. Learning to accept what is. When we accept what is instead of struggle against it, our struggle against it keeps us from actually moving forward because now we're resisting what is. Resistance to that which already is a way for the ego to keep us stuck and not move us forward. The moment we accept what is, whether we like what is or we don't, but acceptance of what is happening at the present moment allows us to go ahead and say, okay, this is what is currently happening. How do I go from here to where it is I want to go? So being able to see that next step because we are accepting what is. So for example, when COVID happened and my work life really changed like everybody else's did, I went from working 50 hours a week to not working any hours a week. And I was home in my house for 40 days and 40 nights without going outside. And during that period of time, several things occurred, and I learned to pivot what I was focusing on. So I was able to launch the podcast. I was able to write more and get ahead in my the way I was processing and moving the process to recording the show to make it much more to make it easier for what it was I was trying to accomplish. So when we realize that there is a pivot to take, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So although COVID globally was a bad thing, for me personally, that time off allowed me to grow and expand and do something new and different. So being able to adapt to situations and being able to take the next right action. And sometimes that next right action is very simplistic, by accepting what is and looking at the entire situation and, okay, what is the next step to move me towards my goal?
Continuing with that, you said at the end, but when, if ever, should we ever surrender?
Surrendering occurs from a different aspect than giving up. So if your goal is to get a college degree or your goal is to have a child, and circumstances are such that makes that currently difficult to do, it's not about giving up that dream. It's not about changing. All right, well, since I can't get a college degree, I'm going to try something else, try an internship or something. That's not what I mean by surrender. Surrender to me is that acceptance of what is. Because when we accept what is, it moves us into being able to say, what is the next right action? What is that next small step I can take towards obtaining the dream and the goal? So if you currently can't get enrolled in college, then look at different opportunities to look at different internships, different ways for you to grow and take classes online, because there are all kinds of courses online nowadays that you don't necessarily need a college degree to move forward towards the ultimate goal. If the ultimate goal is a college degree, then get your GPA up. Take courses so that you are better at writing, better at math, so that you can get into college easier, and then go to step by step after those dreams that you want to obtain.
All right. I believe that's it for this one.
All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you, everybody, for participating and being a part of this episode of Ask Terri about persistence and never giving up. Thanks for listening to Soul Solutions with Terri Kozlowski. If you'd like the show and want to learn more, check out terrikozlowski.com, where you can find the links to everything we talked about in this episode. Please subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode as we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs.